In this exercise, we train how to paint using a large brush, changing the opacity, and using the magic palette knife, the eyedropper. First, I'll open the reference image. I will now create exactly the same sized canvas. This can be done as follows. I select the whole image, Ctrl A, copy it, Ctrl C, and deselect, Ctrl D. Now I create a new file. The new file is by default the size of the clipboard. That is the size of something copied. I click Create. The copying of the reference file was only to create a new file the right size. Next, I'll align the files next to each other. I drag the canvas from the third row and put it to the left of the screen. When my cursor touches the left side of the screen, I get a blue line as a sign of snapping. Now the files are next to each other. I can now start painting. I first check that the pressure sensitivity is working. Then I'll put a spot of black paint to the upper left corner, leaving a bit white next to it. Now I get all the colors I need from the canvas. I'll start the painting by painting the background. I take a big enough brush. I select black paint and set the opacity down to 30%. Now I mix the color until I get the tone I want. Then I'll select the tone and crank up the opacity up to 80 or 90%. Now with few brush strokes I can paint the background. I try to do fast swings to get a straight line. I do the same process on the table. First mix, then paint. I can push the line upwards and downwards until I'm happy with the position. I darken the background a bit. Next I'll select the gray and paint the ball to its position. This color is lighter than the background, but darker than the table. I'll start the painting of objects starting with the color of the shadow. Then I'll paint the lighter colors on top. This is the order we're going to use on this course. Then I'll start to paint the lighter areas. I lighten them up too much in the beginning. I'll select the color of the background and darken most of the ball with one stroke. Now when mixing, I use the eyedropper all the time. I try to locate where the shadow and the light side meet. Again mixing with 30% and then cranking up the opacity. To get precise forms, I paint them to the positive and negative directions, shaving the shadow with the color of the table. I don't add any black or white to the image. They are the last colors to be added. I keep my eyes on the reference and continuously fix the errors I've made. I use a big enough brush all the time, using the pressure for size for my advantage. I don't care about the sphere form that much, because I can always fix it afterwards. I concentrate on the values. I check the ball once in a while by zooming out to reference and my painting. I can trim the edge of the sphere with the color of the background. I try to examine the values, where the light side of the sphere changes into shadow, where is the core shadow, where can I find bounced light on the sphere, where is the cast shadow of the sphere, and where there are no bounced lights because of the cast shadow. I also try to find the shine of the sphere. The shine is not to the direction of the lights, but it's between the direction of the lights and the shadow. The shine is the only point that can theoretically have white color. The other lightest areas are on the right side of the sphere. The lightest part of the table is just next to the ball. The area has light shining onto it, and it also gathers bounced light from the sphere. I add finishing touches to the sphere with a bit smaller brush. The last thing to finalize the sphere is to shave the lighter side of the sphere to be tight, leaving the shadow side to be a bit soft. Check that your sphere is changing value where it should. The transitions don't need to be super smooth.